Athens City Council met in its committees Monday night. The City and Safety Services Committee began the night with a presentation from the Athens Municipal Arts Commission to propose an Uptown art event. The event would take place on August 18th and would shut down a portion of Union Street between Congress and Court. It would also showcase and sell works from local artists, along with musical performances and food vendors. The City and Safety Services Committee then discussed revising and updating the Athens Hocking Solid Waste Management Plan before moving on to the Transportation Committee. The Transportation Committee began with a lengthy debate about food truck vendors before moving on to road salt plans for the winter. The meeting then continued on to the Finance and Personnel Committee before ending with the Planning and Development Committee. Council then moved into a special session, which started immediately with ordinances for third reading. Third reading started off with Ordinance 0-53-18 to authorize street paving and repairs for Athens roads in 2018. The city would also receive $400,000 from Ohio University to help with the project. Ordinance 0-54-18 was also discussed, as the city would have to move $46,000 to the garbage fund to authorize a pilot residential curbside compost project. The ordinance was approved by council and will begin on July 1st. Council then moved on to ordinances for second reading and concluded the night with ordinances for first reading. Now let's head over to Shrivers with an in-depth look at the pilot compost program.
City Council recently passed legislation allowing a pilot program to begin within the city. The program will allow for the collection of compost from city curbs along with residents' other trash. The pilot calls for residents of Athens to voluntarily separate compost material from their trash and place it outside to be picked up once weekly. Compost will be collected by the Athens Hocking Recycling Center and taken to their compost facility, which is right behind me. TGC recently went to the facility to speak with Bruce Underwood of the Athens Hocking Recycling Facility and Andrea Rini of Rural Action. Underwood explained his involvement in the development of the program and expressed his excitement for the pilot to begin.
What we brought in discussions with Rural Action of the city at the same time, us, Athens Hocking Recycling, with the overarching organization with Athens Hocking Organics doing the compost collection and processing. So I've been working with them really from the beginning to see how this could work, looking at other examples with the research that Rural Action's done about other contracts that are similar across the United States and how it could work in this community. So really from the square one, and with us already doing a similar service in the city of Athens for both residential and commercial operations, we're happy to see that expanded and hopefully at a larger scale across the entire city.
Andrea Rini spoke with TGC about Rural Action's involvement in developing the pilot as well.
We became involved with the city and HRC in this compost pilot because the city was looking for some ways to improve its waste management system and help meet its zero waste goals. And we sort of just proposed to the city that they could use some funds that are in the Trash and Recycling Fund to pay for this really innovative and unique service that not a lot of communities are doing yet in Ohio. There's only one other fully municipal curbside collection service in the state of Ohio. So, we're being very progressive and forward-thinking in starting this pilot program, which will hopefully launch to the citywide service.
Rini also explained how Rural Action plans to stay involved.
So Rural Action's involvement with the program is to basically help administer the program and do education. That's kind of where our specialty lies. So we're going to be sort of a bridge between residents participating in the program, the city, and Athens Hocking Organics or Recycling Center. So we'll be working directly with the participants in the program. We've already been doing the registration process, and then also once the program starts, making sure that there's a really robust educational campaign so that people are putting the right things in the compost bin and they feel confident in their composting in their home, and if they have any questions, they can come to us.
In the first week of the sign-up sheet being posted online, the pilot program received around 120 sign-ups, which is over half of the 200-person minimum goal. The program has room for 300 sign-ups, but if you're on the fence about signing up, Rini says that a third to half of the sign-ups have never composted before, and that information will be available to anyone who doesn't know what to compost. She also gave statistics on why composting is important.
30 to 40% of the average American household's waste is made up of compostable material. So just by cutting that part out of your landfill trash, can greatly reduce the amount of material we're sending to the landfill. And that material, once it's in the landfill, it doesn't have the right conditions to break down, and so it creates a lot of methane, which is a really powerful greenhouse gas. So we have the chance to reduce a lot of waste that the city's creating. It's in the Athens Sustainability Action Plan to reduce organic waste going to the landfill and help meet climate change goals and zero waste goals as well.
Rini also offered some tips for first-time composters.
So it might be helpful for residents to know before they start the program that all of your basic food scraps, such as your fruits and veggies, bread, eggshells, things like that, can all go in the compost bucket for the program. Small amounts of meat and dairy are even okay. But there will also be a lot of education before the program starts and during the program, so that people, if they run into things that they're just not sure if it belongs in there, we'll be educating residents on those kind of things. So.
Any resident of the City of Athens who lives in either a single-family home or an apartment complex of 4 or fewer units can sign up for the pilot compost program. Anyone who signs up will receive a free 5-gallon bucket with a lid to store compost in. If you're curious how composting works at the Athens Hocking Recycling Center, TGC asked Bruce Underwood to explain it.
What you see behind you, this is a covered area, but we have what's called a static aerated bay system. So it's static because we pile all the material up, which is what you see behind you. And then once we collect enough of that material, we put it into the bay. And it's aerated because we have a blower connected to that, and it will blow air up through there to help speed that compost up, or that composting process, which is much different than your backyard composting pile because of the volumes of material. So within that compost pile, it's 140 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which helps break down that organic material with the microbes that are naturally in there.
Travis Wendell is the compost site operator. He took TGC up close and personal with the pile and explained his duties to the compost site.
Yes, what this pile here is just it's food waste collected from the city. Wood chips from local tree companies, they bring them in for free, and it's just a mix roughly of 2 to 1 2 to 1 wood chips to food waste. And it's just stirred up here until I get enough volume, and it goes back in these aerated bays here. There's 2 bays here, and they're, like I said, aerated, so once they get in these 2 bays here, the air shoots up from the bottom, which keeps the oxygen level up high and keeps the heat up high. So usually when I get enough here, it goes back into these for 30 days a piece, so I'll spend 30 days here, I'll flip it for another 30 days, and then flip it out for another 30 days, and then it's ready to be screened, that's what this machine here is. I fire it up, and I just dump the ready stuff through the screener, and the fine stuff comes out the back, which is the finished product, which is right there, and the stuff that comes out this end is the larger stuff that don't fit through, which comes back through and is recycled again.
If you're interested in signing up for the Compost Pilot Program, you can visit the city's website where more information and a sign-up is posted. Remember, spots are limited, so sign up sooner rather than later. The actual program is set to start in August 2018 and will run through February 2019.
We've got a very wet week coming up here in Athens. Today we're seeing some thunderstorms in the afternoon with a high of almost 80 degrees. Tomorrow the rain will continue on into the morning before letting up, with our lowest high of the week at just 70 degrees. Saturday the thunderstorms will return, along with a high of 78 and a low of 62. Saturday's high will go up even more to 83, with just some rain in the morning again. Monday though, the storms will be back once again, along with a high of 79 degrees and a low of 60. Tuesday and Wednesday are set to be pretty similar, with highs in the low 80s and lows in the low 60s.
Athens' very own pop culture convention, known as RathaCon, took place this past Saturday, May 12th. The event took place in the Athens Community Center from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Dozens of booths were set up in the gym, each serving a different purpose. Some sold collectibles, others offered new experiences. Some booths even had comic book artists who happily displayed their talent. Many convention attendees dressed up as their favorite characters from pop culture. From a couple of rogue Jedi to a diesel punk magician, there was a lot to see at RathaCon 2018.